what is the unity rule?
The unity rule.
Yes.
Okay, so the unity rule is an idea I got from another spiritual teacher that I got to spend some really good time with. One of the things I love about my job, Alex, is that I get to spend time with all of these living legends. And one of the people that I really, really, really loved is Neale Donald Walsch.
Oh,
Neale
yeah.
Donald Walsch wrote the Conversations with God book series.
Yeah.
When I was in college, these books changed my life. They freed me from certain rules from my religious upbringing, Hinduism, certain rules from my religious upbringing, and helped me expand my idea of what life truly meant. Now, in his book, in his book, Conversations with God, book 3, Neale attempts to answer a question. What is the ultimate value? If you look at highly evolved species who might live on a different planet, what is that one rule that they all have in common? And that rule is unity. It is not individualism, it is unity. It is that you stand together with everyone, literally everyone. And I found that rule to be a really interesting model. So Neale suggests that unity is the ultimate value of highly evolved beings. We see everyone as being, in a way, connected to us. He even suggests it's an exercise for you to truly embrace this idea. He says, as you walk through the streets, and I remember doing this when I was living in New York, as you walk through the streets, everything you see that creates a discomfort or a dislike or a pain in you, rather than judge, you repeat to yourself, there I go again. So you might say, there I go again, being a drunk homeless man on the street corner. You might see a person, litter, and you might go, there I go again, being a litter bug. There I go again, being a loud, obnoxious person on a subway. And I started doing this. And all of a sudden, like within 30 minutes, I was like bawling my eyes out. Something shifted. I suddenly felt not judgment, but a sense of unity with every other person in the streets of New York. Everyone passing me, I suddenly felt like I was connected to them. Although in New York, you don't really make eye contact. That would make you. But it was such a powerful exercise, and it helped liberate me from judgment. Because I lived on 7th Avenue and 15th Street. I remember there was this guy who was always in the corner, drunk and homeless, smelly as heck. And every day as I'd go buy breakfast, I would pass him and I'd feel disgust. That was a form of judgment. After I started doing this exercise, I sat down with him. We got into a conversation. I found out that his wife had left him. He had sank into a depression because of that lack of love. He had lost his job. He took to drinking. And that was how he fell into this spiral. And he knew it wasn't good, but he didn't have the tools and the knowledge to get himself out. And I'd occasionally buy him a cup of coffee. I didn't have the tools and knowledge to help him either. I was a kid. But that unity exercise from Neale Donald Walsch shifted my perspective. Today, when I look at a homeless person, I no longer judge them. I do whatever I can to try to understand them. And I think this idea is so important for all human beings to embrace.
Without question. And when I had Neale on the show, he had such a deep conversation about homeless because he was homeless for a year. And it changed the way I look at homeless people without judgment. Because, even if you always have a little in the back of your head, you're like, this or that, or that. You have some sort of judgment. And the other day I met a homeless man and I gave him some food. And as I was talking to him, he explained like the judgment that I might've had about him. He's like, man, I lost my job. And because I lost my job, I lost my house. So now I'm living in my truck and I'm trying to get myself back on my feet. But from the distance, you're like, oh, this guy's lazy, or he doesn't have this or that. And why don't you get a job? It's fascinating. It's fascinating. And Neale's the one who's like, always have a little bit of couple extra bucks in your pocket. Just in case you don't know what those $5 is going to help, man, that'll change their day. It could actually extend their life for another day or two because they're able to eat. It was just a really interesting way of looking at.
Neale has a completely different way of looking at the world. So he was giving a talk at Mind Valley University, and he shared a story that really, actually, no, we were having dinner, and he shared a story that shifted something in me. So, I would travel around the world with my kids, and we'd go to all of these markets in Egypt and other countries, Ecuador and so on, and we would haggle for like little jewelry and little scarves, little like handmade goodies. And Neil says, "So you haggle?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Why do you haggle? When I go to these markets and I travel and I see that Ecuadorian woman and she's trying to sell me her handmade jewelry for $5, why would I tell her, I'll give this to you for $4? No, $3. Give it to me for $3 and I'll take 2. I'll say, you want $5? I'll give you 6. No, I'll give you 7. He says, I haggle up. Why do I do that? Because I'm from the United States. What she makes in a month, I make in maybe 4 hours. Why do I feel I need to haggle her down? I was mind blown.
Wow.
I was like, whoa.
I feel guilty.
Wrong. So now when I travel, I was just in Jordan, and same situation. So this old lady she was selling like little pieces. I'm going to actually hold one up for you. So this lady in Jordan, and it was selling these. It's just thread from a lamb, right? It's just a piece of wool and thread. I have no use for this. But here was this 80-year-old woman sitting in the hot sun, just selling this. And I said, hey, I'll buy this. And I bought all of this useless stuff. They are beautiful reminders. I mean, I keep them in my home. I don't need this. But after hearing Neil's story, not only did I buy this, but I gave the lady more than what she asked for. And I think that's where Neil's ideas of unity are just so mind-blowing.
To watch the full video, click on the link below. And don't forget to subscribe.